Good morning and welcome to your Thursday edition of the Morning Jog. My name is Matt Cohan, and I am joined here today by two guys who told me off air in confidence that they like the smell of their own flatulence. Francis Ellis and Robbie Berger. Fellas, thank you for admitting that to me. How are you?
You better believe it. Happy to be here, boys.
So much for in confidence. Holy shit.
All right, fellas, it seems like just yesterday we were all worried about dying from coronavirus or murder hornets or what have you. But the internet is a fickle beast. Francis, are you making that face permanently? Or are you frozen? Oh, he's frozen.
No,
okay.
I'm not frozen. I was just looking at you.
All right. The internet is a fickle beast, and today we are worried about a fucking cereal box. Fellas, after 57 years, Kellogg's has decided to completely redesign Toucan Sam, the famed mascot on Fruit Loops. They took his blue body color and made it brighter and more turquoise, gave him glossy alcoholic eyes, and added a rainbow pattern to his beak. We're going to get a picture up here for you guys, but he kind of looks like Toucan Sam's younger cousin who sells Molly in the parking lot of the Disco Biscuit show. People are really pissed about the design, that it started trending and it's become national news. Robbie, does this move you?
You know what? I don't mind. I really don't. I think cereal is one of those things that you don't really mess with. They don't have to do a lot of advertising. You know what it is. So I'd be very alarmed if this was Captain Crunch. I'd be very alarmed if this was Lucky Charms. They did something to the leprechaun. Toucan Sam and Fruit Loops, I'm okay with them making a move and making an adjustment. But it is interesting. Like I said, it's not a cereal, though, for me, where I'm going to be up in arms about it. Like, if somebody did anything to the captain on Captain Crunch, I'd have a huge issue with this. In a weird way, I kind of like the move, and I definitely don't hate it.
You think it's aesthetically pleasing, though, the new version?
Yeah, it's okay. Look, it's a change that I don't mind being made. I think making this type of change on a cereal box, it's something you've known for years, and you stick to that. So usually you have a right to be upset. This change, I don't have much of an issue with.
Interesting. Francis, are you down with Toucan 2.0?
Look, I understand why people are upset. I think that cereal is a very nostalgic enterprise.
Sorry to interrupt, but that's the word I was looking for. I wish I would have had that word.
It's okay, Robbie. Just stick with me. I'll sort you out.
The Harvard thing.
Yeah, so I think that people are very nostalgic about cereal, and it brings back memories of their childhood, of sitting around, of whatever, playing games on the back of the cereal boxes. I don't have that nostalgia. Why? Because my parents wouldn't allow us to eat cereal that had games on the back of the box. I was eating crackling oat bran.
Oatmeal.
And
Kashi brand.
Yeah, exactly. Puffin organic, corn pillows and Weetabix. My cereal boxes never had the option to cut up 3 proofs of purchase and mail them in for a boogie board. There was no color on my cereal. And as a result, I could dunk when I was 16. I think that a lot of these fatties and these losers who are sad that the fucking toucan they so loved watching on their cereal boxes are actually projecting their sadness over the fact that they're pre-diabetic. And this change has come to their lives. That's
if I could interject, and Matt, I apologize, but I think that's why you could be so fucked up in the head, is you never had that true childhood. And being that you have a different background than every single time we do the show, clearly your parents are doing something right, and they're very successful. Yeah. But that to me explains everything about you of why you're so fucked up. You didn't have a childhood. You didn't eat cereal.
Yeah, I had a childhood, okay? I had a childhood. We went camping. I had to portage canoes over dry land.
That's not a childhood. That's Boy Scout shit.
I went to camps. I went to summer camps. We kicked soccer balls. I knew Frisbees. I had that. I knew how to make a s'more, okay? I just didn't get sugar and shit like that made all the other kids happy.
And
Matty
now he
Ice,
has a
who's
great
wrong
fucking
right
body,
here?
Robbie. You know, you eat mulch and you get the body like Francis. It's a give and take here. You guys want to know something? A secret of mine? I've never had a bowl of cereal in my entire life before.
Francis, you're off the hook.
Yeah,
Matt,
what the
childhood
fuck?
Never
fucked up in
once.
that. To be quite frank, I don't necessarily feel comfortable doing this show with you. Ridiculous. I'm out
I mean,
here. roasting Francis.
my cereal might have been made out of birch bark, but at least it was cereal, okay?
It's a phobia thing. It's like, why would you put something that's solid into milk? I mean, if you were aliens who came down and were like, oh, we're just going to put this weird, crunchy, sugary shit in a bowl of milk and eat it with a spoon, who's the real psycho?
You're the psycho, Matt.
you.
You psycho. Look at you, no cereal. You can't mix solid and liquid? What are you?
The morning jog is in the
oil?
market for a new host.
It's fucking weird. And if you looked at it from a non-biased perspective, you'd agree with me. But you guys are mindless lemmings who are owned by Kellogg. All right, fellas, moving on. Speaking of rebrand, Joe Rogan just sold his 11-year-old Joe Rogan Experience series to Spotify in a licensing deal that reportedly worth more than $100 million. Rogan's full library, which adds up to almost 1,500 episodes, will hit Spotify beginning September 1st. Episodes of the video podcast are currently available on YouTube and will move off the Alphabet platform to be exclusive on Spotify by the end of this year. Rogan told his millions of fans via Instagram on Thursday that it will be exactly the same show they've come to love. Rogan said, the only difference will be it will now be available on the largest platform in the world. It will be free to you. You will just have to go in Spotify and get it. 100 million. We have a couple podcasters on this show. Francis, are you surprised by this?
I love it. I really do. And I don't know. I suspect there will be a handful of Joe Rogan fans who are going to say he's sold out or whatever, but I think it's bullshit. He's not going behind some upstart unknown paywall. He's going to Spotify. Everybody has Spotify. Spotify is one of the most no-brainer $10 a month that I spend because I like music. I know that Spotify is trying to grab as much of a market share as iTunes has and has had in podcasting for a long time. And I also know from an inside source that Spotify is going to build out its own video component of its podcasts. So for those people who loved watching the Rogan show on YouTube, I think they're going to still put clips up, component clips under some sort of Spotify video thing. And frankly, I love Joe Rogan and I love his podcasts. So I'm thrilled. I think hat off to the guy. He deserves it. This is his big payday. As I don't know that he necessarily needed it. I think he was already making like $30 million a year from this thing. But I don't know. I just think he deserves it. I think he's a guy. I'm happy to see him win on this level. So
wow,
that's my
Francis with the breaking news on the morning jog. Woo, beat it, Robbie.
Matt, you took the words out of my mouth, Mr. Ellis. Leave it to Mr. Ellis to really break a heater like that only on the morning jog here. And again, I'll double down. I agree. I totally agree. We're in a day now where these contracts for celebrities and successful people are starting to become normal, especially in sports with some of the contracts you're starting to see dished out. You can't think of all of what Joe Rogan does and how diverse this guy is. A stand-up comedian with a special on Netflix, a UFC commentator who's one of the best ever. He's incredible. Totally changed the podcast game forever. He's done so much. You know, is it an absurd amount of money? Yes. But these are the type of contracts people are getting now, more than deserved. I'm not even that huge of a fan of his podcast. I listen from time to time, and I know it's more than deserved.
Yeah. It's interesting to see like how older generations, like Andre Agassi's dad, would like throw a tennis racket in his crib and make him play with it. Like the new generations of dads are just going to put like a microphone in front of their kids. And if this is the money that podcasts are bringing in, it's going to be like their first words are going to be like presented by Manscaped. You know, this is the new wave, $100 million. Wild.
Yeah, I'm going to be putting a bowl of Royal River Natural Foods Twigs and Bits cereal.
I was gonna
No
say
added
Francis's house. They
preservatives.
didn't have cereals. A bunch of microphones. Every single room in the house just had a microphone sitting there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Francis will be in prison for murder at that point, so I don't think that's ever going to happen.
Yeah, says the guy who doesn't think cereal is natural.
I concur.
Okay.
I concur. I see Cohan going to jail before Francis at this point.
Moving on, fellas. This is actually a shitty topic. I don't know why I put it on here, but we have to do it. A family in Virginia.
Can't wait for this.
A family in Virginia gave up $1 million payday because they decided to be little bitches about it. Dave and Emily Shantz of Caroline County were driving their children on Saturday and found 2 bags lying out in the middle of the street. They picked up the bags thinking they were trash and examined the contents when they got home to find $1 million in cash, plastic baggies addressed with a label that said cash vault. After making the discovery, they reached out to the county sheriff's office, and the sheriff released a statement saying their actions deserve nothing less. They saved someone a lot of money and set a wonderful example for everyone else. Francis, is a wonderful example worth $1 million?
Look, so much of this depends on the bag in which you found the money, and also the way that the bills were wrapped, presented, and in what denominations. I loved the book and the movie No Country for Old Men. If this parcel of cash is in the sort of box or Toomey briefcase that drug cartels are known to use, you leave it. But if it's in a brown paper bag or an Adidas gym bag, I think you take some of it. That's my stance. I don't want to risk getting mixed up with the wrong people. But at the same time, I'm not such an upstanding citizen that I wouldn't wet the beak. Just
How much you
bit.
skimming off that?
100K? 100K feels like a decent amount. It seems like the right amount, you know?
Yeah, and you know what? I don't see cartels using Adidas bag either. I see cartels going Nike on them. And it's a good point about how the money is there. My thing is, while everybody thinks, definitely take the cash, these people are idiots. At the same time, if you do take the cash, right, you got it in the back of your head for the rest of your life. You don't know who's coming at you. You don't know where that came from you, what type of karma you're getting. So, yes, I would skim, and I like that 100K range right there. But if I take the full thing, and even if I get away with the money, I go about my day, and I still have that in the back of my head. So it's not as clear in stone as everybody would think of. Why would you do that? Take the 100K, examine the money, and then proceed accordingly.
Yeah.
Wow.
Matt, what do you think?
I'd probably skim 10K. 100K is
why
is,
even skim? If you're gonna do 10K, why
well,
skim?
I would
That's
argue
not
that
even a
why
sip.
even go 100 grand? You're way deep in it. I mean, you got to think of the guys like, hey, why don't you take the whole thing if you're taking 100? If I'm taking 10 grand, it's not worth their time. These guys are dealing in higher denominations. 10 grand would change my life. Well, it would help me. What? Great.
Yeah.
It would change my life. 10 grand is as far as I'll go. But you know what I do? Or if I wasn't going to do that, I'd say I'd hand it in and be like, oh, I wanted to do this. And then I'd bring up a fake ailment that my grandmother had, get a GoFundMe going for me, and recoup all of that 100 grand through that way. Social media is a tool.
That's Ozark type shit. That really is.
Yeah.
What do you think? What do you think is the appropriate finder's fee that the person who owned the money should give to the people for doing the right thing?
That's a good point. For out of $1 million dollars?
I say 50K.
Yeah.
I think it's 10 G's. I think it's 10. I think 50 is too much.
I think it's like tipping your caddy to the point where, when the Masters you win, 4 or 5 million, you're not okay with 10 grand. I feel like it's a caddy's tip. I really do.
I found this guy's phone in the back of a taxi, and I called him. He came and he gave me a 6-pack of craft beer. I was fine with it. What am I going to do with the phone?
That's pretty nice. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a nice gesture. You
6-pack
didn't have to do
craft
it.
beer. Yeah, but I think if it's cash, it makes it a different thing.
Right. It does.
Because then you know how much is there and you're expecting a percentage of it.
And you know what, Matt, you got a good point. At the same time, while 100K seems nice, you're still in deep.
You're still in
100K,
deep, yeah.
that's a lot of fucking. You're still in it.
Yeah.
Maybe I
Not in the
revised my
clear.
answer on that.
Yeah.
Interesting. So we learned that you guys would commit a felony and you eat cereal because you're psychopaths. I think that's a good point to put a pin on the Thursday edition of the Morning Jog. Thank you for participating. We love you guys. New episode Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. We love you. Thank you.